Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Roth Novak. I'm the CEO and co-founder of PartySlate. Really excited for this webinar today. We're going to wait for a few more people to join before we do introductions. I was mentioning before to Emily and Julie, I've always wanted to have my own TV show, but this is the closest I've gotten. I can't sing, act, or dance, so I'm not sure how I would get into the entertainment business, but for now, I love hosting kind of thought leadership webinars and sharing ideas with our crazy busy event professionals in this industry that are so hardworking. And excited to talk today about creating a little calm from chaos, which is really about managing your sales cycle and your funnel and the craziness of lead management and responding quickly and keeping it all straight. And I'm really excited to have with me Emily Rubin from Uptown Glencoe. And I shouldn't even say just Glencoe, it's Uptown,
That's right.
um, as part of the hometown empire that is being built in the suburbs of Chicago. And Emily, I'm going to have you introduce yourself in a second.
Sure.
And also Julie Clark, who from Perfect Venue, which is an amazing platform for, I would say, venues of all kinds to really manage your CRM, your proposals, your payments. It does everything. So I'm excited to talk to both of you. But before we jump in, I always like to know where people are zooming in from. I would love to hear if you could change the chat, not to host, just change it to everyone. And you can actually type in where you're zooming in from. That would be amazing. And then we're going to get started. Also, we want to make this really interactive. Oh, we got Miami. Oh, all the great
Hola.
Florida, West Palm Beach, Cabo. Oh man, I'm going to Cabo in December. I can't wait. Southern California, Minneapolis. I don't know about you guys, but in the Midwest, we got a terrible storm coming through yesterday. So we have trees all over the street. We had the hail the size of golf balls. So maybe we should head down south. Well,
Yeah,
thank
these
you
places
guys.
sound great.
Yeah. For those of you who just joined me again, Julie Roth Novak, CEO and co-founder of PartySlate. Emily, why don't I start with you? Give a
Sure.
quick intro. Top secret, Emily used to work at PartySlate for many years and then went to join her incredible family business. And maybe, Emily, you could tell us a little bit about your venue and your journey, and then we'll go to Julie.
Sure. Well, Julie, you gave it away. I did used to work at PartySlate. That's where I started my career when I was an intern in college, and then I just simply couldn't leave because I loved it so much. So I was working in community marketing and then product marketing most recently at PartySlate, which was fantastic. Learned everything I know about events and the event industry from there. And then, like Julie said, I joined my family business about 2.5 years ago. My parents, who had no hospitality nor restaurant experience, decided after 30 years doing completely different things that they wanted to open a cafe and coffee shop in the suburb that I was raised in Glencoe, which is north of Chicago. And that has transformed into this amazing group of businesses called Hometown Coffee and Juice and Uptown Event Spaces. So we have our cafes, 4 locations now, all around the north suburban suburbs of Chicago, and 2 more coming very soon. And then we have private event spaces called Uptown. So one in Glencoe, our original location, another in Glenview, which is about 10 minutes away, and then another one opening very soon at the end of the year in Northbrook. So we do all different types of events here, primarily corporate and social events. We do some weddings, but our space can accommodate about up to 120 people standing. So it's great for groups as small as 8 or as big as 120 and everything in between. So that's me.
I love it. Well, the hometown has transformed so many suburban downtowns. It's really become a destination. People have meetings there. They're come through for their coffee. I want to say you guys even shut down Starbucks in our Glencoe. That's how good, that's how great you guys are
That's a
doing. So
crazy story.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So congrats on your business and joining your family business. And
Thank
I think
you.
your event space is amazing. We're going to talk more about that soon. But Julie, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah. So, Emily, I kind of have the opposite journey. So,
Yes,
I
you
was,
do.
Yeah, I know. I
Mm.
spent about a little bit more than 20 years leading private event sales for multi-unit restaurant groups. So I've been in the shoes of a lot of our attendees today and Emily. I was a perfect venue customer
Yeah.
and absolutely fell in love with the product. It really streamlined our systems. It really just took the work out of it, and it was fantastic. So. I decided to jump behind the curtain and get involved as a strategist with Perfect Venue to work with teams all over the country and beyond, helping them build better systems so they can spend less time on administrative work and more time creating amazing guest experiences. So I'm really excited for this. It's going to be great.
Can't wait. I think we should just
Yeah,
jump right in. There are
let's do it.
many people that are new to Party Slate and new to Perfect Venue. So we're going to do a quick 5 to 6 minute, you can hold me accountable to it, overview of how this partnership came together and how people use our platforms. And then we're going to dig into the questions. And I'm really excited to take questions from the audience. So anyone who's got questions, you can change your to everyone. So instead of just sending it to panel, you can post it right there, any of your questions. And again, because I wanted to have my own TV show like Oprah, I really like those questions coming in. So do not do not be shy. All right, well, I'm going to share my screen and just give you a quick overview of Party Slate and how people are leveraging Party Slate to grow their business. I like to give this the saying, picture's worth 1,000 words. I think in our industry, it might be worth, in some cases, much more than that. A quick story about Emily and Scott. Emily and Scott are getting married. Emily is hearing all these rumors about Taylor Swift's secret garden wedding. No, she doesn't want to get married at Madison Square Garden, but she's thinking about venues in downtown Chicago that are near her hotel block that could accommodate a secret garden wedding. The venue that she goes to see, the Ivy Room, where we just hosted our Chicago event, is stunning and beautiful, but that day it was not set up. So it's an empty room. It is very hard for people to envision what the venue's capabilities. Luckily, the sales team had photos ready to go on their iPad, pre-prepared, knowing that she loves Secret Garden, with 3 or 4 stunning photos of how that, I mean, can you believe this is the same room transformed? And when they came in the fall, there wasn't the beautiful ivy of the Ivy Room. And quickly they could show through photos and through imagination what the venue could look like at the time of year of her event. And so we did, the point that Party Slate feels is that the picture is worth way more than 1,000 words. We think content is your currency. We're the only industry in the world that has professional content creators, photographers, and videographers. And we really want to help you leverage those photos from top of funnel to really engagement to kind of reaching out to you to finally post sale. And I thought, what I hear from people, and Emily, I know you've told me this many times, is you are on the floor, busy doing tours. You don't have a marketing team like you are the marketing team, right? You don't have someone like, oh, create something custom for me. And sometimes people say like, oh, I have it on my phone, and they start doom scrolling, or their photos are scattered all over the place. This is really what we want to help with. And so, Emily, I'm going to put you on the spotlight here. I am
Sure.
looking to plan a corporate summit for my team. We have roughly 50 employees. And I'm going to this is where I get really nervous to do a live Google search. We don't control SEO, but thank God Party Slate is the first result, top venues in Glencoe. This is how, of the 5 million people that come to Party Slate, about 70% find us through a Google search, or now we call it a ChatGPT or an AI search, and they come to Party Slate. So let's say I'm looking around, this Chicago Botanic Garden isn't the right vibe for me. I see Uptown. I see this photo that looks about the same size as my event. I'm digging through, the spaces look amazing. I can picture it at night and during the day. And on this profile page, you can really give people a feel for the event space even before they come in. And what we found through our research is most people like to look at real events. So I'm immediately drawn to this comedy event that was done at night. You can see that set up. There was an outdoor reception, a holiday party. There's so many different ways I can envision the space for my corporate event, which is really amazing. And the great thing about it is any of the vendors or event partners, Emily, that you work with, you can credit them in this event. And so then your photos, kind of like LinkedIn, show up on their profile page. And then you could actually see, I wonder what planners have worked at Uptown. And you can see 4 different planners here that have done work at Uptown. So again, this is how people get discovered, but then eventually they send an inquiry. And after they send an inquiry, and let's say I sent an inquiry to Emily, and what she can do is quickly send me a link to a corporate tour. And so I'm coming in here. I want to see what it looks like classroom style. I want to see what it looks like someone on a microphone, where the audience would sit. This is a great way to immediately make a personalized experience. And when you look at the public link you can send and you copy it here, it's going to be branded with their own experience. And this is where what I really like is the photo boards really become part of your sales process. And so I could talk more about this, but I also think it's kind of fun. If you wanted to show someone on the microphone, I can type microphone and our AI photo tagging will have every photo of anyone that's been on a microphone. Or if you have, purple, the purple comes up. And I love that tea party
Yeah.
concept that you do. So if I put in tea, all your stunning tea photos show up. So Emily, before we jump into Perfect Venue, could you share just a little bit about how you're leveraging Party Slate?
Yeah, absolutely. So PartySlate is an excellent sales tool for us, mostly because it allows us to just send our photos extremely easily or direct people to learn more about our venue. Once we've received the inquiry from them, we often are like bringing them back into the PartySlate atmosphere, sending them to our profile, showing them photos with Photo Hub. But it's also an excellent way for us to get great eyes on our business that may not have otherwise found us. I, as like a techie person, am always searching to see how the customer sees and finds us. So it's fun when I Google and I can see that PartySlate is a place that people certainly land on to see our venue as they're searching for the perfect space to host their event. And then bringing that into Perfect Venue has been so easy because the link is so shareable. I embed it almost always whenever I'm sending images into the actual email body text of what I'm sending to my client and customer through Perfect Venue. So instead of doing those big, crazy attachments and worrying about size of the attachment, it just links into the email and they can click over to it, which makes my process extremely easy. And I know my team loves it as well.
Awesome. And talking about Perfect Venue, we just launched our integration with Perfect Venue. And I'm going to now turn it over to Julie. So if you see our integration section here, those leads that come in, I know that you get website leads, you get DMs, you get so many different sources of leads as a venue. And it's overwhelming if it's not built into a process. And so our goal at PartySlate, in addition to integrating with CRMs, we've integrated with Canva and many other tools that you're using for your everyday business. So you can actually get the content where you need it and how you do your business. So I would love to now turn it over to Julie to talk a little bit about Perfect Venue, and then we're going to get into some questions.
Fantastic.
Julie, you
Yes.
want to, yeah, tell us a little bit about how Perfect Venue is making Emily's life easier.
It certainly is, by the way, every day.
Yes.
Right, because Party Slate is exceptional at helping venues tell their story and attract the inquiries. And then Perfect Venue picks up, from there by making sure those inquiries are organized, responded to quickly, and converted into booked events. Um, it's pretty cool. Perfect Venue is also, it's developed to help you move faster through, and pay more attention to the guest experience. Like move faster through those automated, constant, you know, paste, copy paste. So,
Yes.
yeah, so let's dig in a little bit there. And let's put some numbers on what you already know. So, as you all know, not every team is built the same. Sometimes they're small, sometimes there's a big sales team. But what we do know is we spend the majority of our week responding to inquiries. And oftentimes those planners are also the event managers on the floor, working those events, getting
Yeah.
them set up. I'm sure you can speak to that, Emily. You're
Absolutely.
doing kind of juggling.
Yes, it's a constant juggle in between being at the event, making sure that that person is having the greatest experience while without neglecting a potential new client who just came through the inbox on that same moment.
Right, right. And inquiries are coming in pretty hot. The inquiry volume on the weekend, as you can see here, is pretty high. And that's pretty much where that gap is in response time because we know about the faster you respond, the higher your conversion rate, the faster you book the sale. So we'll yeah, let's move on to yes. So response times are slowest on weekends, as we know, and Perfect Venue has a pretty cool tool that we'll talk about in a minute that can help you offset that time a little bit and get that first touch, that first interaction right away. So inquiries are coming in pretty hot all week, but on the weekend, it really piles up, which makes Monday morning. And Tuesday's kind of always been my peak day of, oh my gosh, I'm almost caught up. I'm almost getting there. How can I make this a little bit more, fluid? So,
And I'm just curious, Emily, how do you handle, the 7 days a week? You also want to have a life. Do you
Of course.
have assigned someone that can be like checking the inbox on the weekend, or because there's lots of statistics out there that the first to respond is 90% likely to win the business, which I find
Astonishing.
crazy,
It's an amazing
astonishing.
statistic.
Yes.
There's a few things at play there. When I first started and joined my family, I was the only person managing the space, and so
Yeah.
I was honestly wearing like too many hats. It was very difficult. So I give a shout out to those in the webinar right now who are doing it as a solo mission because it is a big, big job, and you want all of your clients to feel very extra special. I saw somebody wrote that in the chat that everyone's a VIP. Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
So true.
But one thing that's really helpful for us, and now that I have a team of two others, is we have a setting turned on in Perfect Venue where we get a text message every time an inquiry comes through. And it seems like it would be annoying, but it's actually extremely helpful just to know, like, what am I up against if I open my email
Yeah.
an hour from now? Like, how many messages have come through? So that's a really nice way to just get an immediate notification. And then also, it increases our speed to reply significantly because it's just a way that we can be notified really quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we also just are kind of constantly managing the inbox. Like it's a very addictive feeling when you can get the inbox to zero. So we all operate on like a zero inbox
Isn't it a
policy.
great feeling?
It's a
it's the
great
best
feeling.
feeling.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
So, I changed the way that I managed my inbox a few years ago. I used to just like clear emails, but they all stayed in my inbox. Now I archive any email
Mhm.
that I have already replied to.
Inbox zero
Inbox
gold.
zero is I can't talk enough about. It's like the best feeling on earth. It
Yeah.
feels like a clean house or something. I don't know.
Yes.
So that's been super, super helpful. And then the other thing that is like a total save from Perfect Venue is that when somebody sends an inquiry, we have an automated response that goes out to that person, letting them know we've received their inquiry, and then also setting an expectation of when they can expect a response. I find that in the event industry, setting expectations is like the
Yes.
best way to create a good handshake with your client so that they know that we are going to get back to them, that we are slower to respond on the weekends. As long as they know that, there's typically way less pushback on Monday afternoon when we're like just about to get back to them.
Yeah,
They still feel happy. Thanks for the quick reply, all of that good stuff. So we utilize that
Great.
significantly.
I love that. I found that the Perfect Venue app, made it a lot easier for me to respond in the moment
Yes.
as well. Like, you pull up
So
that
very
lead, you drop
important.
in your template, you send. Yeah, so it worked out really
Yes,
well.
it's a
Um,
saver.
yeah, for sure.
We've got a quick question in the chat. Could you walk us through about how PartySlate and Perfect Venue's logins work? So the question was about, is Perfect Venue going to be a separate login or is it built into PartySlate?
So you will have a separate login for your two accounts, your to authorize, but what our integration, once we get it set up, it's like a 10-minute, maybe even 5 minutes, dare I say, to get that integration. Once it's integrated, you don't have to log back into PartySlate to get your inquiries. Of course, you can log in to use our photo management tools and your profile and all that, but your leads will automatically, with all the information that was gathered, go once it's authorized for the two to talk to each other through an API. You don't have to log in twice. You'll just have to log into your Perfect Venue platform to see the leads. I believe that's the question that was asked. Yes.
Yeah, it does require two accounts, one
Yeah.
for Perfect Venue, one for
Yes.
PartySlate.
Yes. Great.
Fantastic. Great.
And
I'm so happy you brought up that fast reply and responding the moment and letting people know you're going to get back to them because you're right. The faster the response, the easier it is for them to convert and book with you. So we have some data about same day within the hour conversion rates here, kind of speaks for itself. And then to look at what that means in dollars, we converted that based on like a medium-sized event group. So let's show what that looks like. So median response time for this particular group is 10.9 hours. So a little bit less than we would like for a response rate, I mean, for response time so that the conversion rate's higher. But this kind of gives you an idea of what that looks like in dollars left on the table. So that response time is really important to us, and that's why we've developed some tools to really help our planners and help our teams move through that. Calendar maintenance. I can't express enough how important that is. And I'm talking about your personal calendar when you're getting ready to attack a week. You just came off a really busy weekend. You need to really block off time because you're doing tours, you're responding to leads, you're talking to events that are this coming weekend. So putting some of those blocks in your calendar, maybe asking for help on Monday and Tuesdays is advisable, and really get to that recovery faster. So that's our staffing and scheduling. Awesome. Okay. With your Perfect Venue account, you have this dashboard. It lives in your reports. It's great to check in. You can manage goals, sales. You can track it however time period you'd like to see. If it's, the past 7 days versus the the earlier 7 days, or if it's year to date or by quarter, you can see here the number of leads you have coming in, what your average response time is. This is actually really healthy. Confirmed events, your lost leads, etc. It's kind of all built out in the dashboard for you. So you know what to triage first. You know what to kind of put your marketing dollars towards, or maybe what to focus on to increase that response time and increase those conversions. Um, so this is so cool. So PartySlate landing in Perfect Venue takes that constant, you're checking your Gmail, you're checking your work email, you're checking for leads everywhere, and bringing it in immediately into Perfect Venue allows for that fast response. You're not converting it into Perfect Venue. It's right there, it's alive, it's in there. So from there, we have a really cool fast reply on Perfect Venue that you can set up via AI, and it's really great. It responds under 10 minutes. And basically what you can do is on a Friday night, I've had a couple teams share their experiences with me, but on a Friday night when they're getting ready for a big weekend, they will turn that on. They've told it what to say, what not to say. They've tested it. They know that that will just be the first response and kind of set them up to hit the home run. Right? They're gonna set them up. They're gonna provide them with, yep, we're available. Yep, here's some menus. This is what we're looking at, and then move that along. And then you're just reaching back out for that second touch and hopefully converting to a proposal.
how does it know what to respond to? So does it read what's in the email and kind of come up with AI, kind of natural language responses? Have you branded it as a person, or how does it work?
Well, you help it get to know your brand, which is the cool part.
Oh, that's
So
great.
you're constantly rephrasing and talking. You're letting it know like what your brand is like. I know we had this really funny one. We have a group that has a steakhouse in Texas, and they're like, just answer, answer like a cowboy, let them know we're available. And it was like, hey, y'all, come on, mosey on down to the, saddle up at the bar for a little while. We'll move you to
I
the
love
driver.
it.
It was hilarious. But it can take on whatever you would like. Oh, here we go. Yes. And
Yeah.
it is a personal assistant. And I can tell you that that is just magic to any event planner's ears to have a free assistant.
Yes.
So yeah. So when you get into the event assistant, you get in there, you program it, you test it out, you see what it's saying, you tell it what to
Yeah.
say, what not to say. And even past that first response, that's the only one that goes out automatically for you. But past that first response, you can create responses that pop into your, when you're responding, you're following up to make it, seamless because it already kind of knows the guest and what they want. And
Yeah.
so you're
Amazing.
building it out. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Love it.
And here it is. So first reply, so that will send the fast message within minutes, which we all know based on data that it drives up your conversion rate. It also reads through your menus, your templates, it kind of gets your vibe from the messages you've sent before. So it just all works together through this process, and it's really great. And it is an assistant. It really does help.
So there's checks and balances as it's going through with the salesperson that you can review it before it's sent out, or you can send it on automatic if you need to over the weekend. Sounds like there's a lot of options.
Yeah, yeah, you can have it on always, so it's always managing those inquiries coming in for you at least to get that first response out, especially if you're, there's a lot of general managers that run event programs. So
Yeah,
it's like, they're on the floor, they're not constantly checking in or on their phones. So that AI reply really comes in handy there.
I love that. Well, maybe I could
Yeah.
take a little step back, unless Julie, you have anything else you want to share.
No, let's take a step back.
Okay, so we actually had some people submit some questions in advance, and a lot of people are interested on kind of and again, you came from the venue side, so you've seen it on both sides, both on a platform and venue. What are some of the biggest workflow challenges that teams face during busy season? Like, what are those, and how do you overcome them by still responding in a personal way? To respond quickly, but make it personal. How do you manage the influx of lead craziness, which is a good problem to have?
Yeah, yeah, right. Because there's busy and there's productive, I
Yeah,
really believe, right? And so I've seen that like build up your workflow flow, make it really clear what your workflow is. Like consistent follow-up, good automation, which we really lean into with Perfect Venue. We have automated tasks, we have automated emails that go out. So
yeah,
it's really important that those touchstones are happening, but maybe that's not you doing every single touchstone. Maybe you're getting a little help from your event assistant. Yeah, because the technology isn't replacing the hospitality, right? We're just checking off those boxes and moving it along a little bit faster. So
I love that. Emily, what about from your perspective?
Yeah, we definitely utilize the like automated email system, especially when it comes down to like those final 2 weeks before the event. It's really nice when we can just send a note that says, here's the parking instructions, here's the elevator, here's how you do a drop off. Like, reach out to us if you still need the slideshow uploaded. And so it prompts a lot of these last minute answers that we need to fill in, and also just reminds us and keeps us on our toes with how we need to get back to people in those like last 2 weeks before their party starts. And then during, the busiest times, it can be very overwhelming to try and balance it all. But I definitely think I just spend a lot of time setting expectations with clients. Like that's probably been my biggest learning since
Yeah,
I've left tech events and went to working with clients and customers. Like we confirm everything in writing. So like the emails are essential. The way that Perfect Venue allows us to take all of our notes and publish it to the customer in the same document that they have their proposal in is life changing. So like as we get more information about their event, we plug it into our custom made BEO that's beneath the menu. And so it's like a nice handoff to the client to let them know that we heard them, that we have the notes, that everything's taken care of.
That
Because
probably comes in handy when there's a little bit of like, wait, did we agree on this? And
yes,
then you can go
it
back to
does.
the notes. Yeah.
It does. And
I was
like,
going to say CYA, but yeah.
yes, totally. Um,
Yeah.
there's, constant confirmation. We talked about this, we're going to do that. So building in the automations that allow us to succeed on that front is life-changing.
Great. And then I was going to just talk about staying organized, especially when you have more than one person on your team. Are there any, and Emily, you mentioned a little bit of this before, but some automations that venues can set into place or some, standard operating procedures of, how quickly you're going to respond. And if one person's on vacation, this person's picking up so that's not going into an inbox that no one can
Yeah,
access. Can you
yeah,
talk a little bit about that funnel and how it works?
definitely. So we live and die by our shared inbox on Perfect Venue. Like it is the greatest tool ever that all of our emails go to the same place. So at any point, my teammate Jen can pick up an email chain that has been going. We tell our customers, like, you may hear from Samantha, Jen, or myself, just based on certain events that
Yeah.
need attention. Um, and so there's constant open line of communication for any of us to see what we're working on at a given moment, and like a great historical record of who responded to what. So that makes a big difference for us. And then just if you do have a team, like a recommendation I have is just really defining people's roles. So I know like my teammate Samantha, she's usually the first line of defense to reply to an inquiry. If she's gone, Jen and I divide and conquer on that. So giving those really specific guidelines to who is doing what helps us achieve the greatest and most seamless event without too much of a headache.
And it is a triage, right? Like all these are coming in and all responses can't be equal. And we also know we've done a lot of work on PartySlate on fraud detection and others. Emily, how do you, and I'm sure Julie, you can talk to this as well from your perspective, how do you begin to filter what I would call like the money leads, the top,
Yes.
versus the, I don't even know if this is a real person. I mean, I know
Totally.
if they're asking for gift cards, you're probably, it's an indication, but,
Right. Credit
you
card
know,
number, things like that.
credit card numbers, yeah. You're like, sure, here's all my numbers. But what do you do to kind of triage into like, I'm taking that one. In fact,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call this person right now.
Yes. So Perfect Venue does save us all the time with fraud detection. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. It happens less frequently than I would think, honestly. But we do get certain inquiries that are very smart in how they're conducting
Sus.
fraud. Suspect, exactly, very sus. Um, love that. But no, we definitely attempt to send a proposal as quickly as possible throughout the sales process. When I am being sold to, I hate when I am 10, 15, 20 minutes into a conversation or days into a conversation and I still don't know what the cost is going to be out the door. So
Yeah.
we are very honest with our customers at the upfront of the range in which they can anticipate spending on the type of event they're looking to have. And so being able to plug in those proposal items and just send them a sample proposal really soon into the sales process helps us weed out people who are not going to be the best customer for us and win people who are. So I actually find even with inquiries that we aren't totally sure about, it's those that we spend a little bit more time just sending a proposal right away in our first personalized response because we find that it's the best way to know for sure if they're in or out. It's like
Yeah.
a yes or a no.
It's a great qualification tool, even if
Yeah.
it's a range of what you're looking at per person.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then also, right now, a business goal for us is to book more big evening events. And so when those inquiries come through, those go directly to me. So, like Samantha, my teammate, will assign me to those and I get a notification, or we'll use our chat system in Perfect Venue as well, to let each other know, like, hey, I'll take this one. This looks like one that we definitely will hope to win.
Great.
So yeah, triage is a great word.
Awesome. And Julie, do you want to share your perspective on that?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I always used to triage by like the urgency.
Yeah.
right? Just kind of meet them where they're at, acknowledge that, oh my gosh, yes, let's get on this right away. And try to convert, the most urgent first. But like Emily was saying, that was always the way to go with ones you weren't quite sure about. You kind of send that proposal and then you don't hear back. Or it becomes something completely different.
Right.
So yeah, that's so funny how I think that I bet you a lot of planners do the same thing. I
I
think
would
that, yeah.
imagine.
Well, I
Mhm.
think it's just to be as transparent as you can. First, you want to sell the value and how great, they've already found your space. You want to sell the value of how your space is different and why it would be a great fit. But then as quickly as possible, getting some sort of range in their mind so that you're not spending a lot of time selling to someone that doesn't have the budget to have an event at your
Absolutely.
venue. And I think in the past, when I'm early on in my sales career, I sold website development for large corporations. I used to feel bad, like, oh God, don't have $100,000. We can't help you. But what I learned to do very quickly is, based on the size of our team and our overhead and everything it takes to make my company profitable, we can't profitably do a project at this size. So there's a way you can say it without sounding snobby or sounding like standoffish. But as quickly as you can get to that as possible, that's really, really important because otherwise you're going to have salespeople wasting their time. Talking about salespeople, let's talk about managing performance and thinking through conversion and metrics. What metrics should venue managers actually be tracking each week? Because I know some venues that are super analytical and they're looking at everything top of funnel, conversion, everything. And then I know others that are just looking at the bottom line. I know here at PartySlate, we like to look at the full funnel so you can kind of diagnose where is the challenge. Do you not have enough leads coming in? Is your conversion rate not high enough? Is there something you could better differentiate yourself with? Like we like to really get analytical about the funnel, but not everyone has that background or has the time to do that. So maybe Emily will start with you on what are you looking at when you're looking at sales for the events?
So a reason why we chose Perfect Venue, and we had tried like every CRM platform, like I could go on and on. A reason why we chose Perfect Venue is because there's like an overview of the metrics that are industry standard that we should be looking at on a daily and weekly and monthly and quarterly and all the things basis.
Yeah.
Um, so we like to track like how many leads did we get that week? How quickly were we responding to those leads? Of the leads that we received, which ones can actually converted into a booking.
Mhm.
And then it allows us to also measure it against where we were at this week a year prior. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really important metric to look at. It's a good health metric of is your business growing? Are you at the same point that you were last year? Are you at a better point, a worse point? So I constantly look at our reports of like how is our revenue tracking and pacing and modeling for the rest of the year as compared to where we were at this point last year.
That's
Um,
great.
and you can also set goals for your sales team with Perfect Venue just in the way that we measure those metrics. So, like typing in actually what our revenue goal is for this month and then meeting with the team and holding everyone accountable to that shared team goal has been super helpful. Um, so, there's a lot of good information there.
Awesome. Julie, how about you?
Yeah, I think I would add two more to that. I think I would, there's also a report in Perfect Venue where you can track the reasons why people didn't book with you.
Yeah.
The lost reasons are really important, to find the why, create an action plan, maybe put marketing dollars towards something that you see popping up continually. The other one I really like for a lot of our venues is, are your tours converting? You have all these tours on your calendar. Like, are they converting? What day of the
Yeah.
week is converting more than others, et cetera? Because ultimately you got to monetize your time as well. So it's like, you're in there, you're wondering, you're doing a tour, but you're not responding right now. And so you're moving about like, is that paying off? So I think those five right there that we've been talking about really lean into the revenue being the outcome. So
Yeah, Marissa just said that they recently did a whole analysis, kind of planning backwards to make the math work for their end of year goal. And I know they always say sales is all about the numbers, about math. It really is. If you don't have enough top of funnel, your conversion isn't where it needs to be. you can hope to meet your goal, but it's going to be unlikely that you're going to meet it. So I think that's really helpful. And I think one thing we've heard from our customers is the people that are using photo boards on their iPad for the tours are closing more business. They've been tracking, and these are some bigger hotels and others that are very analytical. And when they use these custom boards, so if it's a fundraiser and they're showing this is where the silent auction would go, and this is where the reception is, and the VIP, the storytelling on those tours are leading to a higher tour to book conversion ratio, which is great feedback for us because it's back to that, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's one thing to have 10 photos that you always show, but to have a gala tour versus a baby shower tour versus a corporate event, those are very different, feels and requirements. So that's one thing that we've learned on the metrics on our side. We're top of funnel.
Yeah, Julie, I'll speak to that too. Like being able to, I guess, in two ways. One, being able to pre-sell your space with photos is so helpful.
Yeah.
Sending images, especially for people who are out of town. We get a good amount of, we have a lot of bridal showers in our space. And oftentimes the host that we're working with does not live locally. They're traveling in for the shower because the bride or groom lives here. And so they come in, they want to see like, what can I expect? What does the space actually look like for a shower? So being able to share those photos through PartySlate is so immensely helpful. And then also, I have to remind myself as a salesperson, like this might be the first time somebody's hosting this type of event or hosting an event at all. And so when they come into the space and our space is very flexible with how we can move furniture around. And I say, picture these tables are over here and then these chairs go over here. And I can tell sometimes people are just not visual in that way, and which is so fair. So being able to pull up the picture with PartySlate is so, so helpful. And then you see they kind of light up. Oh, I get it now. I can understand how the room will be arranged. So it relieves a lot of anxiety, I think, around what will it actually look like on the day of.
I always talk about I don't want to call it pre-gaming, but pre-game, you have this big, it took a lot of work to get someone to come in for a tour, right? You're back and forth, you finally got the date. Just take 7 minutes to create a custom photo board. And it can just be photos for Julie tour and have them ready to go. So you're not scrambling like with the doom scrolling to find that photo. Yes, you have your PartySlate profile and that has pretty much everything you need, but why not for what you heard from that customer? They want interested in the tea party or the tea experience. What do you call that event?
Our Thai tea, yeah.
High tea. I knew it had a nice word. Your high tea. Why not have like 4 or 5 of those photos ready to go for that tour? So they not only see the space, but how beautiful and elegant it looks with the high tea.
And also, just as I'm thinking about how we use it as well, there's certain questions that we get so often. I'm sure everyone can relate to this. Like, can you show me a picture of what flowers look like on the corner of the bar? Or like, how have people designed this hutch space before? Then I had this light bulb moment like, oh, I should just create a photo board of this. So I have one for random stuff. Like I have one called Flowers on Corner of Bar that I send to people because it totally achieves that without me having to fish for photos. Or
actually, I'm going to share that one because I think that's
a good one.
interesting. So you kept being asked about flowers and, because they couldn't picture it or where it would look. So you just put this together really quickly.
Yes.
And I think what I love our product team just launched this is now you can go full screen. So when you're on the iPad, you can just scroll through this because we actually went to one of our hotel clients and they were like stretching it. I'm like, wait a second, why don't we have full screen? So then the full screen is really a beautiful experience. Again, avoiding the doom scrolling.
Yes. And you can add iPhone photos to this too, which we're working on right now to compile iPhone photos and get these into those albums too, because given that we do mostly corporate and social events, it isn't as frequent as we would like that we have a professional photographer in the space. And so having like really high quality iPhone images actually really aids in our sales process. So that's a project for us at the moment.
And based on feedback, Emily, we always tell us, give us feedback. We have more filters now available, so you can sort it. Recently, the albums you're looking for, and even album tags that you guys can manually add. If you're looking at a corporate event, it can tag all the corporate events and just sort really quickly to those events. So we're trying to make it like photos at your fingertips. And again, anything you can imagine, like I searched that before, like, flowers, is easy to find in seconds. So that's great. Okay, another question that I'm interested in you asking is, as you're thinking, so we talked about metrics and you talked about doing more with less, right? You have limited time, and as the inquiry volume increases, what are you comfortable automating and what are you still want to leave to the personal touch, and maybe kind of where you are in the process? Maybe Emily, will start with you. Like, I think you said before that first response, you're comfortable, like, hey, we got it, and you're setting expectations. Where from that point forth, is it some automation or is it all custom?
So up until now, I would say this month, it's all custom. All custom in the sense of like, we still have templates. We still know what we generally are saying on a regular basis, the types of most popular food options we'll plug into a sample proposal. But we do personalize it to the customer because I find some of our customers are like super casual and I talk to them like I would a friend, and some are really formal and it's a completely different type of personalized experience. So meeting your client where they're at is super important
Yes.
for us to win the business. And so we do like to personalize, but we love AI at
Yeah.
Hometown and at Uptown. We use it in every way. Like Hometown just built a totally customized like operating center using AI entirely to build it for our business. And so we're constantly thinking about ways that we can automate. So I'm exploring right now with my team how to use that within Perfect Venue. In fact, I'm even learning on this webinar today that like I can tell and customize the AI system and event assistant. So I'm excited about how that'll change our process. AI is here, so like might as
Yeah.
well use it to our advantage. And I don't think that we'll lose that personal touch. I do like leveraging proposals. Like, I guess what I'm getting at here is there's certain proposals where we can just use a package. Like we have
Yeah.
a Bountiful Brunch package and it's literally a click of one button and it's in the
Yes.
proposal and then we send it.
It's
Whereas,
turnkey.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
whereas there's other ones that we build totally a la carte and custom. So it's the ones that are just one button that I am excited to use AI for specifically. Because it still will feel personalized in the sense that they get to choose their food and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Love it. And
yeah.
Julie, how about you?
Yeah. I agree 100% because AI helps replace the repetitive work, right?
Mhm.
And then you can dig in a little bit more on the relationships when the repetitive work is kind of taken off your plate. So I agree, like especially with Perfect Venue where you can personalize everything. Like it's
Right.
at your fingertips. You can
Yes.
personalize right down to a nickname, like anything. You can personalize. And then, the 20 minutes you saved from trying to create the perfect email and send it out, that you can now spend on that relationship building, and talking about, more of the nuanced items is
Yeah, I
really
always say
great.
as you free up time with automation, then you can
Mhm.
spend more time on that follow-up. And we know we haven't talked, Emily, yet about follow-up, but it's one of
Yeah.
my favorite topics because
Mhm.
sometimes I hear, I'm not going to stereotype, younger people say, oh, they ghosted me. And I will say, well, hey, did you try texting them, calling them, emailing? Like, I don't want to say stalking, but I
I was
want to
gonna say
say,
talk to them.
hey, how about you share, hey, I have an idea for your venue and send over a photo board. Do you have 5 minutes to jump on the call? So you're not just about did you sign, did you sign, did you sign,
Right.
but add value in your follow-up. I always say just following up is like a no-no because it's just about too salesy, too transactional.
True.
If you add value, I'm curious how you do that, Emily, on you thought you had a big one,
Right.
you got the proposal out, and then they go quiet.
So typically our assumption if somebody ghosts us is price. Like that's the number one reason why somebody is not going to get back to you. So we oftentimes in our follow-up, we will suggest a different time frame, a different day, like, hey, not sure if you had a chance to review this yet, but I was just thinking, looking at the week that you're looking for, would you be interested in a 2:30 to 4:30 time frame for your corporate meeting? It's actually a significantly reduced rate.
Yeah.
So utilizing different time frames that have different pricing is helpful. We also, now that we have multiple spaces, we will direct customers to one space or the other
Yeah.
because they have different pricing as well, because they're different size spaces. So that's a super helpful way to follow up. And a recommendation I would have would be to like give people option A and option B.
Yes.
We know like if we actually give people three options, they'll almost always choose the center option. So sometimes we'll
Sell
give
to the
them,
middle.
yeah, we sell the middle. So that's a tactic that we use strategically a lot of the time. Because there's plenty of opportunities to like upsell certain clients and then stick to the basics for others. And we try and find that out as early as possible.
Yeah. Well, Cindy Novotny, who is I think you
Oh,
know her,
yeah.
Emily,
Yeah.
very famous hospitality sales coach, worldwide for groups. She always said, unless they're about ready to call the police, I say 10 to 18 touch points. So I think many
That's a lot.
salespeople, after one or two, is like, oh, guess they're not interested. You know what? Maybe they're sick. Maybe they're up
Right.
on a vacation. It's nothing personal. So I always encourage people not just following up, but you have some value to
Yeah.
add. And that value is you got an idea. Yeah, I thought of you. Send over some photos. Just keep showing. And then, the last one I like to send is, I'd love to learn how we missed your expectations. We're trying
Right.
to get better as a venue. And it sounds like in Perfect Venue, you can track that, but the email might be like too expensive. But let's say, I always like to say, price aside, how did we miss your expectations? And it might be like, well, you didn't have enough parking. Okay, that's interesting information. You want to gather that so that you can learn and improve and also better qualify up front to not waste your time. But Julie, you did this for a long, long time. What did you learn when you were on the venue side on ghosters?
Yeah. So, it's funny because when you do follow up, when you do follow that cadence, that 2, 3 step follow up, you get a lot of times oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this. Oh my goodness, can we still move forward? So, that you have to follow up. You have to keep going. And Emily, what you were speaking about with understanding that, okay, you're 30 people. I know you want the dining room for 80.
Hmm.
So Perfect Venue, on one of the subscription levels allows you to do multiple proposals. So, I'm working with a group right now where it's like, send both. Send the one they
Yes.
want, and then send the one you think is going to be the best for them. Then you're
Yeah,
looking out for them. That creates the relationship in it. It's just,
yeah.
yeah, that the follow-up is crucial.
Yeah, there's a lot of research out there that price is used as an excuse because it's easier to just say, "Oh, your price is too high," than to say, "You know what? I actually didn't like this or that." So I think saying something to the essence of price aside, where do we fail to meet your expectations or where do we fall short? I think it kind of guilts them into giving you some feedback. And even if it seems like, oh, I'm already going to move on, if it's a big one you've lost, just getting that 5 minutes on the phone to learn is incredibly, and then sometimes you can maybe even turn it around if you have an objection that you haven't heard. Okay, so we're running low on time. I want to make sure everyone who has questions to ask, please, we're going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes. Any questions for Emily, Julie, or myself, please join in to the chat. But I wanted to thank you both for sharing your expertise and your tips and tricks for staying organized through the chaos of inbound leads. I did want to give a little pitch out there that we launched our new Instagram channel for the industry called PartySlate.pro on Instagram. We are going to, on a weekly basis, share everything you can imagine from industry highlights, webinar invites. We also are going to we have 12, my battery's running out, guys. We have 12 events a year that we are hosting and all over. Our next one is in Dallas, followed by LA, Boca. We just had ours in Chicago at the Ivy Room. We want to include you in our industry events where we do thought leadership and, more importantly, networking that is top tier. We also are going to give updates on new launches. And then I also wanted to share that if you want to learn more about Perfect Venue or PartySlate, you can scan these QR codes. We're also going to email you our contact information. We're really excited to focus on what's next for PartySlate, which is AI, leveraging AI. Emily, we're obsessed also with AI, not only for the image recognition, kind of the computer vision, but also to create these photo boards in a more custom automatic way. So we have a lot of exciting things in store to automate kind of your mid funnel before you get to the proposal stage to make your life a lot easier. And we're going to be doing 3 or 4 more integrations in the coming months. So we're very excited about that. We can also help you optimize your profile page, as Emily shared. You want them to imagine that they could host a corporate event, they could host a wedding at your venue. And our research has shown they actually like looking at different types of events at the venue, not just the type of event that they're planning. So it gives them a picture in their head. Could I see my event there? And if we can help them just get enough confidence to contact you, that's where everything starts going into the perfect venue or whatever CRM you're using, kind of automation and response process. Um, Julie, I'd love to hear from Perfect Venue's perspective, what's next? And then Emily, maybe you can share what's next for your company as well.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're leaning into that automation. We're working on more email automations right now. We're also about to launch we started to launch already, a big improvement on our inbox. So the ability to have like a drafts folder or, archived, et
Yeah,
cetera. So you can really, really manage that inbox.
awesome. Amazing. Emily, what's next for Hometown and Uptown?
So we are going to be opening Hometown and Uptown Northbrook, hopefully by mid-November,
Very
um,
exciting.
which is really exciting. It'll be our biggest event space location with a lot of seating, which I'm excited about. And then we are expanding out of the North Shore into the western suburbs. We're going to be opening Hometown Hinsdale, which is just about 30 minutes west of Chicago, by we're hoping like January, February, March-ish of next year. And then hopefully more to come after that. So
Well,
very
I think
exciting
that
times.
Hometown's going to go national and
I hope.
dare I say global one day. So
That'd be great.
we're excited. Uh,
Hometown in another country would be pretty
Hometown
fantastic.
Paris.
Yeah, hometown Paris. Take me there,
They need
please.
a good avocado toast out there.
They sure do.
And then we do have a website page for all of our upcoming events. And so we keep this up to date. I will send this off with the link in our calendar, but Dallas is next week. We got about 250 people coming. We have Boca on the calendar, Denver, New York, and we are finalizing Las Vegas, Seattle, Napa, and beyond. So we're very excited. But I want to again thank you, Emily. I am so impressed with not only hometown, but uptown events and your event spaces. We are very light on event spaces in the suburbs,
We sure are.
very light. And
Works well for us.
it's good for you guys to have this beautiful space that can scale from a simple baby shower all the way up to a rehearsal dinner is so amazing. And Julie, thank you for sharing what you guys are doing with Perfect Venue to save, I always say these time-starved venue managers they
Yeah.
tend to work, I don't want to say 7 days a week, but in many cases, there is a Sunday event and that someone's got to go to and a Friday event. And it is 24/7. So the work you guys are doing to make their lives easier and providing those metrics is amazing. We've been so impressed as we've gotten to know your platform better.
Thank you. I love
Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will send off a copy of the recording for those of you that want to share it with people on your team. And we will send our contact information for anyone who's interested in a demo or more information. If you scan the QR code, we'll follow up with you directly, or you can respond in the email that we send out. So thank you guys so much. And we will talk soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.